Jacked up on fucking pre-workout. Oh, I gotta lift heavy weights. Gotta fucking lift fucking heavy weights. Gotta get out and stretch. Gotta get out and stretch. Yeah, look at this. I'm stretching. What's up? Yeah.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it bad 'cause I'm brown and not the other color. So police think.
Uh-oh. Here comes. Disclaimer. Everything in this video is an opinion. Everything in a video is an opinion. It's not fact. 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 Whew. So last time I talked, I made a video. I was talking about how, as a younger person, how you can convince your parentals to get a motorcycle. Oh shit, we got a biker. I'm gonna wait on him. You fucker! You leaving me? Last time I talked about younger people trying to convince their parents to let them buy a motorcycle, and that's fine. Now, this conversation, I'm gonna talk to you real quick about what is a good bike to start on. You're gonna see, there's gonna be like 3 or 4 different types of people you're gonna see with this. Person number one, Mr. Play It Safe, he's gonna say, you wanna start out on a 250. That's the smallest bike you should start out on. That's the biggest bike you should start out on. You shouldn't go anything above a 250 if you're unexperienced. And there's some truth to that. I agree with it partially, but not entirely. Number 2 says, hey man, you should start out on a 600cc bike. That way you won't outgrow the power, you'll still enjoy it, and it's not too overzealous, you won't hurt yourself. You know, that way it's a one-stop shop. And there's some truth to that too. And then you got this guy who's gonna say, man, you just need to start on a 1000. It's what I did. I did it fine. If I start on a 1000, everyone should be able to do it, right? Well, this should be pretty obvious. If you have zero experience with motorcycles, hopping on a 1000 is gonna be kind of like, you know, entering a bodybuilding competition, never lifting a weight in your life. It's gonna be kind of like entering an eating contest, never practicing eating copious amounts of food. So obviously there's some limitations to this theory, and I don't think that a 1000cc bike is a good starter bike. That should be obvious. That should be obvious to everyone. Second of all, as far as the 250 goes, some people are going to say that it's the perfect bike to start out on, and there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to saying that the 250 is a good bike to start out on, mostly because it's low in power. You can get them for really cheap, so if you drop them, it's not that big of a deal. And they're really easy to learn. They're very user-friendly. They're very comfortable to ride. They're not overzealous. It's really hard to hurt yourself on a 250cc bike, but the dangers are still there. As much as a 600cc or 1000, there's still a lot of danger. You got people everywhere. Everybody here is out to kill you, or at least you have to drive like it. You have to drive like everyone here is wanting to kill you, because that's how it is sometimes. You have to be super offensive on a motorcycle, and you get to learn that on a 250 a lot easier than you do on a 600, in my opinion. Starting out on a 600cc bike, there's a lot of truth to saying that it's a good idea because it's got enough power to where you're not going to get bored of it. But at the same time, it's not super powerful where you're just gonna want to loop the bike every time you drive it. And there's a lot of truth to that statement as well. I agree. So really, it's kind of gonna be what your experiences are. Here's what I think. If you've never ridden a motorcycle in your fucking life, not even a dirt bike, go with a 250. Or ride a friend's for a little while if he's nice enough to do that. If you got a friend that's nice enough to let you ride his bike around while you learn, you know, while you have a permit or something, do that. That way you're not spending a whole bunch of money, and it's really not that big of a deal because it's not your bike. If you've ridden dirt bikes for a good amount of time in your life, like if you grew up around dirt bikes and 4-wheelers and you know how to keep your balance, if you know how to stay on your own 2 wheels, then by all means, get a 600. I think that's a good way to start if you're just going to street bikes from dirt bikes. I think that's a good idea. Because going from a dirt bike to a street bike, you can really appreciate the 600cc power. You can really appreciate it. You get a feel for the bike. You respect it. You know, you fucking earn a lot of enjoyment from this bike because you understand how powerful it is compared to your little dirt bikes, compared to a 250 or a 450 XR, whatever, you know, whatever fucking dirt bikes are nowadays. So I think the most important thing is to learn how to appreciate the bike and handle the power appropriately. That's why I don't think jumping to a 1000cc bike is a good option, because you can't appreciate the power that a 1000cc bike puts out right away. You've always known it. So I think respecting and learning your machine is going to be the biggest thing to really decide whether or not you should buy a bigger bike. And if you've never ridden a street bike in your life, don't just go straight to 1000. I know there's going to be a whole bunch of people who are going to say, well, I started out on 1000 and I did fine, I didn't wreck it or anything like that. And there are people who do it. It should be obvious. And anything above 1000cc bike, if you're like, you know, I've never driven a motorcycle before, but I really think a ZX14 or 14R or whatever is the best option. Or a Hayabusa 1300, yeah, that's what I want to start out on. Kill yourself. Because you're gonna do it on that motorcycle. It'll save you the trouble of crashing and burning, spending all that money. Yeah, 600cc bikes, pretty intermediate. I mean, they're fast, don't get me wrong, this bike will hit 170 miles an hour, no problem. I can wheelie, no problem. This bike has all the power that I will ever need. And I've ridden a couple of 1000s, I've never owned one. I wrecked a Gixxer 750, that was cool. I think 600s are pretty good if you have some sort of experience on two wheels. If you don't, maybe even start out with a Supermoto, man. Supermotos are awesome. They're so much fun. And if you drop them, you don't care. You don't give a fuck if you drop a Supermoto because it's expected. It's like a dirt bike that you ride on the road if you don't know what a Supermoto is. As a matter of fact, I'm saving up for a Supermoto right now. I've been watching Jake the Garden Snake for years, and he has set my opinions in on Supermotos, man. He has got my heart set on Supermotos. I've decided that they're great, fun vehicles. I've ridden a couple around town. I've got a friend or two that owns one. And they're just awesome. They're fun little torquey bikes. You're not gonna get past 100 miles an hour on it, but that's all you need. So that's kind of my opinion on what bike to start out with if you're looking for a new bike. I think all of this is opinion based and it never should be taken as fact, just an input of what you're considering to as far as buying a motorcycle. And if it's your first bike, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money on it because there is a high chance that you're gonna drop your bike, especially when you're just starting out. And it's just statistics, you know? I've always heard that story, and most bikers will tell you, well, there's two types of bikers. The ones that have fallen, and the ones that are gonna fall. Theory! I have dropped a bike before. I've dropped two bikes, totaled one of them. So it does happen. Dropping bikes do happen. You just gotta be prepared to handle the consequences, and take every day as if these motherfuckers right here are trying to kill you. They don't see you on motorcycles. And that kind of leads me to my next point, the dangers of owning a motorcycle. Every day, when you hop on a motorcycle, your chances of being killed jump up extremely. And that's because it's dangerous. Driving a motorcycle is dangerous. I mean, and it's not in the same sense as like guns are dangerous, you know? Because when you carry a gun, it's not like the gun of its own volition is gonna start slapping the handlebars and go into a ditch. A gun can't travel at 170 miles an hour. Whatever you decide to do, man, just take a lot of the stuff that I've said and put it in mind. My first bike ever, this is why I bring it up, is because I want to talk about what my first bike was. Very, very, very first bike that I ever owned was a Supermoto dirt bike. But I didn't get to enjoy it that often because I dropped it, punctured the gas tank, and the thing burned to a crisp. A little Honda dirt bike Enduro or something like that. It wasn't anything special, but you know, I spent like $2 grand on the fucker, and it literally burnt in a field. Fucking burnt to death in a field. I sat there and watched it until the fucking fire marshal showed up and put out the whole fire, and I was depressed forever. Had no control of the situation whatsoever. I was 16 at the time, and just all types of depression. So that's the reason I say spend as little money as possible on your first bike, because there's a high chance you're gonna fuck it up. It happens. And I don't want to tell you all this information and then you think that, oh, riding a bike is nothing but danger and fear. That's obviously not the case, because no one would fucking ride a bike if that's all it was. Riding a bike is one of the most exhilarating experiences of your life. You'll enjoy this forever until you lose your legs, and that brings up the whole aspect of being safe again. You just gotta be safe with it, you know? Oh, here we go. I got a little bit of air, not much. I remember I remember the first time I ever felt comfortable with the bike, it was my buddy's Gixxer 750. I felt super comfortable with it. You know what happened? I fucking dropped it at an 80-mile-an-hour wheelie on the interstate, and 2 cars hit it and totaled it. Don't even know why I dropped it. It just fucking flew out from underneath me, and I went skidding into the side rail. Luckily, I didn't even experience any injuries. I came out almost completely unscathed. I mean, I had a road rash all on but my forearms because it burnt through my jacket. But then the Gixxer ended up rolling into a car, bounced off the front of the car, flew behind it, and hit the car behind it, right on the hood. I think I caused like $70,000 worth of damage. My insurance rates shot through the fucking roof. I forgot what I did to get most of those. I got my insurance rates back down. I forgot what I did. I think I ended up talking to a lawyer or something. I can't remember. Do I know that person? Come on, I want to see who's in that Chevy. It looks like my ex. No, it's definitely a guy. I need to get gas. G-A-Y-S-S. Gas. When you consider buying a motorcycle, make sure to take into account where you're riding in, what type of environment you're going to be riding. For instance, when I first started riding a motorcycle, I was riding in the heart of Atlanta. You know, the very center, industrialization of Atlanta. It was hell because there was traffic everywhere. Lane splitting wasn't legal up there, and it's still not. But on a motorcycle in bumper-to-bumper traffic, you can say fuck the police and no one can do anything about it because everyone's bumper to bumper, and the insurance are generally cheaper unless you get full coverage and you're under 25, and then you can say fuck everything about insurance. I remember when I was first applying for my motorcycle, I bought it right out cash, so I didn't have to have full coverage, and I still don't, because I buy all my motorcycles cash, which is, I mean, it's convenient, because that way you don't have to worry about full-fledged insurance, but it's always nice to have full coverage. And you gotta check on all this shit, man. It's expensive to buy a motorcycle. I bought this bike $2,200 cash down in Jacksonville, Florida. Insurance about $250 say for the year, and that's $25,000 coverage. You could be like me, where I said I don't really care. I rode uninsured for a long time. I rode without a license. Didn't give a single fuck. Only put 93 octane in my tank cause it goes vroom vroom. So let's press a button. I want to press start. So yeah, I mean, these are just things to consider. Where you're gonna, are you fucking kidding me? That's fucking awful. Let me fill this up quick so I can wipe it down with something. I am so depressed. Depression. Got on my seat, got on my tank, got on my new fucking fairings. Gas eats through paint like it's its job. Apparently I'm still a fucking noob loser. Make sure it didn't just willy-nilly fuck up my paint job. You do have paper towels, yes. Wipe all this shit off. I'm gonna hit this with the Windex when I get home. Hit it with the Windex. Hit it with the Windex. Ooh, lordy. See, and this is why you need to not be a noob loser like me, apparently. Because that's what I am. Do I recommend taking a class? Of course I recommend taking a class to get your motorcycle license. If you've never ridden one, why not take a class? You need to know the rules of the road anyway when riding a motorcycle, so why wouldn't you try to learn the best you can? Why would you deprive yourself of that information? Last thing you want to do is hop on a quad tracker that puts out more horsepower than your mama's vibrator and not know the rules of the road. It's fucking train, man. Train. Just gonna turn around. It's not worth it to wait for this shit. All of my motorcycle life, I rode without a license, no motorcycle license. And on a motorcycle, you will get pulled over. Getting pulled over does happen. You know, any cop, like this guy right here, he could pull me over. But who knows? You'll get pulled over, depending on where you are. The cops will either A, be really cool with it, be like, listen, man, you need a motorcycle license. And if you're lucky, you'll find a cop that rides motorcycles, and he's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But you occasionally get these people, like I did, that say, you need a motorcycle license, here's a ticket, and we're impounding your bike. And that happens too. And then you have to go get your motorcycle license and then unimpound the bike, because if you go there without a motorcycle license, they won't give you your bike back. No! I didn't mean for anything to happen, it was a joke! Why are you leaving me? Just kidding, I gotta go, I just gotta go, I gotta go!